Hi, this is Liz Gromko.
Okay, the first question. What influences the way you parent your children?
My upbringing and how I was raised by my parents. Oh my God, this is too hard. um, gosh. Can't some of the other ones be a little longer?
Okay. What have been the most rewarding and challenging aspects of being a parent?
The most rewarding was watching the boys. I had 3 boys, so watching all 3 boys grow up and become their own selves. They were all different in many aspects. I forget what the question.
And what have been some of the most challenging aspects of being a parent?
I learned the hard way. One of the things that I did, and I feel I did wrong now, is I was more of a friend to my children than a parent, which made that more difficult as they got older because they expected me to be a friend to them all the time when I should have been a parent 100% of the time. So this caused some issues in some of the things that they would do um, growing up, and got away with some things they shouldn't have got away with. So I regret that.
Okay. Third question. If you could go back and change anything about the way you have parented, what would that be and why? So I guess you kind of just answered that one.
Well, now knowing what I know, I would go back and I would be a parent, and I would probably not probably, I would like to realize ahead of time some of the small things that we made bigger things of and let them go because it's all part of growing up. So if, for instance, when they threw a little temper tantrum, instead of getting angry and putting them away, I would have, not putting them away, but, grounding them or sending them to the room. I probably would have sat and had more conversation and kind of figured out why they were acting the way they were acting.
Okay. Fourth question. What do you wish you knew about being a parent prior to becoming a parent?
I wish that I knew a lot of things. You learn as you go. Um, and now that I'm a grandparent, can I say that? Now that I'm a grandparent and looking back, there's so many things that I would have done different. And I wished, again, to let the small things slide and focus on their small accomplishments to make them look like they were bigger accomplishments. Um, not struggle or not stress about the little things, and have more fun. I wish I would have had more. And I did have a lot of fun with the kids, but I wished it would have been a little bit more laid back. I wished I was more laid back than what I was.
Okay. Fifth question. What is one piece of advice you give to a future parent?
Again, let the small stuff go. In the grand scheme of things, it's really a small thing, and it doesn't make or break a child. And if we could learn to look at some of that stuff and let it slide and focus on the things that really matter in life, I think the kids would be better off.
Okay. What parenting challenges have been the most difficult for you to navigate, and how have you managed them? We talked about that already too.
Challenges. I think one of the challenges for me was is looking at other kids and comparing your kids to other people's kids. And that's really tough. You can't and you shouldn't compare your kids to other people's kids. And so then sometimes it was like, okay, maybe I don't want you to be friends with that particular person. And I guess I learned now that I'm older not to judge people. And we all have our little bumps in the road, if you will, that we tackle. And you just got to be there for them and let them find their way. And I'm going to pause.
Okay, next question. In what ways have you noticed your own upbringing influences the way you parent, and are there any specific practices that you changed between the way you were parented and how you chose to parent?
I think for me, for when I became a parent, as many years ago as it was, things were so different than they are now. Today, with all the electronics and everything that you have, we didn't have all that stuff back when my kids were little. So I forgot what the question was.
How did your upbringing influence the way you chose to parent?
Oh yeah. How did my upbringing? My parents were pretty strict. My parents were very strict. If we did something wrong, we had to go outside and we had to line up on the porch, and my dad had a paddle and he would paddle us, but he didn't really want to paddle us, but that was what my mom and him decided they would do. So my dad would pretend he was going to paddle us really hard, but when the paddle got to our rear ends, it wasn't as hard as we thought it was. But so I started out trying to be strict with them, but then again, you just can't. Again, I think that's why I turned towards the more friendship, but I wished I'd never done that. I wished I would have stayed a little more straight and narrow. However, at the time that my kids were probably 10-ish is when there was a big deal about people or kids calling the cops on their parents. And so I think in the time period that my kids were in, I think a lot of parents were afraid to spank kids, to do different things like that. And I think that's what I fell into, and that's probably why I went down the friendship path rather than the good whack in the butt path, which I regret now. They needed the good whack in the butt.
Okay, and the last question, what do you think are the most important qualities a parent should possess, and how have you worked on developing these qualities yourself?
Patience, more patience. That's what we need to learn. More patience, more love, and I think the world would be a lot better place, and our kids would be a lot better off then.
Okay, and how have you worked on developing that yourself?
I work on that every day. I do in my job, in my home. If we have disagreements and stuff, sometimes I just need to get up and walk away and just rethink the situation so I can come back and make the situation a better situation.